Yeah. Yeah.
All right, kick us off, Dax.
All right. I like to thank everyone for jumping in here. That's watching. We give y'all a couple of minutes. We're going to be talking about the Victory Cup with Mizuno Golf. And so I'll do I'll introduce myself, and then I'll go around the horn and allow y'all to introduce yourself. If you don't know who I am, my name is Dax. The winner of the 2022 the rivalry and future winning Morgan Cup captain is here. I'm joined by Scooby. You go next. I'm joined by Scoob.
Scooby 45. I'm a fan of that number behind the name. I know JDax, that's not quite your thing, but the 2021 Morgan Cup champion of Team Paradise. So I'm going to disagree with that, but that's for another time, another show. Excited to be here and talk about the event we've got going on.
Illiterate?
Illiterate, the 2018 THP champion, and was it the 2019 Ben Hogan general champion, I think, as well. So, yeah, happy to be here and hang out with my dudes here.
Yeah, so I mean, super excited. We just saw this. We just saw the THP universe last week, right? You know, for something else. I mean, there's no rest in the calendar as we move to the Victory Cup. So this is the first annual Victory Cup. Last year, the Mizuno was a Mizuno experience. It's at True Blue in Caledonia, if y'all remember that. Awesome follow, awesome time. This time we, a little bit more of a cup, if you will, right? We've had the Goat Cup, we've got the Victory Cup, and then next month there's another cup situation. But yeah, super excited that Mizuno put this thing together. If you followed along earlier, as the guys had dinner, phenomenal dinner. And a bunch of other things. I'm sure that they were just having knowledge bomb after knowledge bomb dropped on them. We saw a ball where obviously a redacted ball of some sort. And a bunch of blue boxes, right?
Yep.
Bunch of blue boxes. Used to ask JB Cop the third about them blue boxes. It won him a sweep. Because he knew where he needed to go to get the blue boxes. So what do y'all think about this Victory Cup with Mizuno Golf? Literate, I'll go to you first.
Well, it's obviously we have two teams, four players, 6 THPers, and we get to go and play the stadium course and the valley course down there. So it's going to be great. And, I'm a big fan of team golf. We got singles to kick us off and then a little bit of Shamble. So it's going to be fun.
Scoop, what are your thoughts about it?
I mean, it starts with the blue box, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think if you all were in the thread earlier, there's nothing quite like it in golf when you see that blue box because you know what you're getting. So to start there and then to have this experience on the stadium course, I mean, that's something else. Nicholas, Trevino, Phil, Ricky, Rory, Tiger, those are the names that have walked and won on this course. And these gentlemen get to do that tomorrow. Man, that's fun.
Yeah. I prepped for this by playing plenty of rounds on the 2K21 PGA game on my PlayStation 5. So I feel like I'm already ready to play with them or follow along with them tomorrow. I may even be watching the forum and playing at the same time that they're playing the stadium course. Speaking of the stadium course, let's talk about the stadium course for a little bit. Now, I mean, look, this doesn't require a whole lot of introduction here. Like a lot of times when we're doing this, the courses themselves, maybe it's like the first time or just like the second time that THP has been to a course. Maybe someone didn't follow the live thread. We're having to give breakdowns of holes and key things. Like this course has been on every golf system game since the
Oh yeah.
beginning, since you were playing golf like on your like Commodore 64 or something. Maybe not that old. But
Giving
yeah,
away your age, Dax.
right. I am. I mean, it was definitely on the Sega Saturn if you had one of those.
Yep.
What do y'all? I mean, I know this course. We can picture people coming down the stretch, especially the iconic 17th hole. We remember the year Ricky won and he stuffed it in there. Like you can close your eyes and you can picture some of those moments. What are y'all's thoughts on the course? I'll start with Illiterate.
So thoughts on the course itself. I did a little bit of research earlier today and was reading a little bit about Arcos, and the 5th, 7th, 14th, and 18th hole all play well above par for your average golfer, such as us. And you also have, I think it read the average 5 to 10 handicap is going to play closer to 15 or 20 handicap at the stadium course.
They're playing from 6,700 from what I understand.
It's not going to be easy out there. I mean, obviously we have the iconic 17th, and then the 18th, which I think plays as the hardest hole when they play it on tour. Hopefully some of these matches get to there, and those holes mean something, and it's going to be great. But I mean, it doesn't get any better for an competitive event to go and play there, and you've got some new irons to go along with it and wedges. I mean, it's going to be fantastic. The course, I mean, we've all played it on PlayStation enough. We know it. And there's going to be some carnage out there for sure. And we're going to have some 5 handicappers look like 15s, and, some 10s probably look like 25s out there. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I blistered it with my guy on the PlayStation. I shot 62 today in sort of benign conditions. Scooby, what do you think about the course?
I got to echo Illiterate there. I think there's going to be a little bit of carnage. It just seems so technical, so demanding. I was initially going to talk it up a little bit, but hearing that they're going to go from 6,700,
that's what I heard.
Deep.
That's deep. It's deep. Look, I love when we talk about keyholes. I think the from 15 in, super fun. Like it's super fun to watch when you're watching it on TV. It's gonna be super fun to follow along. Tomorrow when you watch it, super fun on the PlayStation, for that matter.
Matty D said, I had a college teammate of mine shoot 89 and said he hit it great when he played from that yardage.
I mean, we'll get to the matches and we'll get to the way this breaks down here in a second. I do think that them playing the blue tees at 150 slope. Whew. We're not going to have a course. I mean, I'm sure that some of the guys are going to get a course adjustment, right? Like usually when we do these odds, I just have their straight up handicaps. I do not know what the course adjusted numbers end up being. So sometimes some of the like pops that I would have figured out, like maybe on my computer screen, are not exactly
the single
right.
digits. Like say, my course plays at 145, so single digits are probably going to get about 3 extra strokes, and I would imagine your double digits are probably going to be about 4.
Okay. Scoob, what are some of the key holes for you?
I mean, for me, it's especially when we talk about our singles matches, right? We can talk about the iconic finish, and they're going to have a blast doing that. And we'll get to the live stream, I'm sure, and talk about that. But for me, the end of the front 9, 7, 8, and 9 handicaps 1, 7, and 5. So I believe there should be pops for the higher handicaps on each of those, or 2 of the 3. I think that stretch of this course is really going to make or break some of these matches in singles.
I think one of the other key things to bring up is that most people aren't going to pop on the first 3 holes. Okay. So like when we get to some of these singles matches where you have a couple of lower caps laying 9, they're really laying 9 over the last 15 holes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're gonna need, like, so if you're looking at, we're gonna talk about how hard it is to fade pops in some of these scenarios, but if they're going to do that, they're gonna have to get out of those first 3 holes without being down, because then they could be staring at a like an avalanche over the next 15 holes that they have to fade. That's gonna be very important. Did y'all want to bring up anything about the other course out there? I mean, we're going to be hyped for the singles. We're going to talk about this format in a second, which is sort of flops from a traditional sort of competitive experience format. Is there anything, Scoob, that you wanted to talk about the other course, the course they're going to play on the second day?
So the Valley course, from what I hear, it's going to be a little more playable for folks, but it's still that low country golf feel from the photos I was looking at, to where those angles are going to matter coming into greens to really score. And what I think could be really interesting is if we get there, 16 and 17 are par 5s to finish before a par 4 18th that has water on the left again. That might sound familiar to y'all. But par 5s in a Shamble match opens up a whole lot of drama down the stretch if the teams get there and the Victory Cup goes to those holes. Could be fun to watch.
Yeah, I love when someone has back-to-back par 5s. Like I've been playing old Waverly a lot on the PlayStation, and 9 and 10 there are par 5. So let's talk. Like Scoop's face, he's like,
there's a comment to be made about you and couch and fingers, but we're not.
So let's talk about the format. We get day 1 singles, and then I don't know. Have they made an announcement? I know when I wrote this up, I did not know what the format for Shamble was, and I didn't find it today either. Maybe someone in the comments can tell me if I missed it.
Yeah, Shamble matchups I have, which are 70% handicap.
Thank God.
So we have Voshall and Debo against J.
No. I have the matchups.
Oh,
I wanted to know what the format was.
It is best ball.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, best ball. Yeah, sorry.
Like
70% cap, best ball.
When I type these tent poles up for us, it's days in advance, right? And I was guessing that it would end up being best ball, even though Josh told me not to make that assumption. But I'm glad that it's best ball. So we get singles out of the gate, okay, which is not normal. That also gives us where the majority of the points that are available on day 1. Thoughts about the format? The format, I mean, I know why the format is the way it is. No one wants to go to the stadium course and not play their own ball. I get it, right? But it sets up for a scenario where it could get late early. I hope it doesn't. So, Scoop, what do you think when you saw the format when we were going to go single then Shamble?
To me, the biggest thing with all those points on day 1 is who's going to adjust to their new irons. I mean, we know they're going to be great, right? And they're going to perform because they're Mizuno irons and they're going to look sharp. And hopefully there's some pictures of what can be shared is up on the forum that I haven't gotten to look at. But adjusting to new sticks, new irons, new wedges on a course that demands it, you got to get dialed in early. Thankfully, I hear the range at TPC Sawgrass is not poor, but it'll be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah, literally, what are your thoughts about the format? Before we break down the teams, we're going to talk about the blue boxes and the goodness and the irons and the whole 9 yards real quick before we start breaking this down. But literally, what do you think about the format?
So from a pure competitive standpoint, if you're trying to win this thing and you can go out there and get 3 out of the 4 points, like right out of the gate, I mean, you're putting yourself at a huge advantage going into the next day. I mean, day 1 is going to be huge. Normally we have this flip flop, but like I say, I understand, hey, we got singles and, we're going at the stadium course. So I love it. I actually think it could make for, some pretty exciting stuff down the stretch, and where you have to rely on your teammate a little bit, on day 2. So I think it'll be fun. It could be very interesting, especially if it comes out, just even on day 1.
If you're a member of the Lunatic Fringe, you're not going to want to miss tomorrow. Okay, because I think tomorrow is going to be super exciting. You don't really want to miss in either of the days. But tomorrow is like a lot of times you can follow an event and maybe you sort of like you skim day one. I hear people like, hey, do you have an update on the score? Well, of course you didn't watch all day then, if you're asking me for what the score is. And then you get locked in for day two. This is going to be one where y'all need to get locked in from out of the gate, right? So let's talk about them irons. Like I've never played, and I hope Vosh isn't watching. I've never owned a set of Mizuno irons. Although I had a brief love affair when the Tech Studio was here in Nashville, B&A, when it was here. I loved the JBX 921 Hot Metal Pros. Like, in fact, you can ask Josh. Every time I was at the Tech Studio, I grabbed those irons to hit them. I liked hitting them so much. And I even borrowed them multiple occasions to go play rounds with them. I mean, I always brought them back. Also, the forged version of that 921 set, I also borrowed that set one time, took it out to play it. I love their irons. I don't know why I've never played any of them. But what did y'all feel about their, not only their iron selection, the gear, the whole 9 yards, any experience with the Mizuno gear, which is phenomenal?
Yeah, so I've been playing the 921 combo set this year, hot metals at the 5 and 6, because for those of you that played with me, my ball striking can wander at times, and then the forge from the 7 iron on down, and man, they're just such a sweet set of irons. They perform, they've got the speed. You all know me on the forum. If I can customize it and if it doesn't look good, like I'm out, and these look just on point. I know that some of the guys are playing the new ones, the 923s out there, and I'm sure they'll share what they can. I think there's some photos out there on tour and some leaks and things like that. They look sharp as well. And then you've got the 225s. I think the other team's got the 225s and the 223s of the Mizuno Pro line. I mean, those just have that classic look. And man, to know that we got 6 THPers opening blue boxes right now, it gives me all the feels.
Jelly seeing the blue boxes occur. Illiterate, your thoughts on the Mizuno gear, the goodness.
Well, I'm in the same boat as you. I haven't had the opportunity to put these in. Well, you're probably a little more versed with Mizuno irons than me, but I have not ever had the opportunity to play them. But everybody that I've talked to always speaks very highly of them. A good buddy of mine that I play with just about every weekend, he's a religious Mizuno iron guy. And another guy I played with this past weekend, he had a set of Mizuno irons, and I was talking with him, and he loved them. So I need to get out there and try them. But I did notice that the lower handicap team went with some of the pros, which I'm excited to see how those hold up under the Sawgrass Stadium course pressure for sure.
Look, I think Kromali's legit. Okay, that's all I'll say. I mean, I think it is legit. Let's talk about the teams. Hold on, let me get my transition. Oh, look at that transition. So we're going to talk about Team Vosh first. If you look at the scroll, here is who is on that team. Their combined cap is 9.3. You get Vosh, you get the golden ticket casher enter that post, AuzzieMatt, and my favorite back nine bully Debo, who I love. I love you, Debo. I know you're watching right now, or you better be. Thoughts when you first saw this team? I mean, I broke this down on the forum. You can read some of my commentary there. But Scoob, when you take a look at this team, what are some of your thoughts about them?
I mean, you got it headlined by Vosh, right? And we know that Vosh is a stick. We've seen it in the THP studio. Know that the steady game is going to show up. And then you get into the kind of the mix of mid handicaps. That post, I've had the privilege to play with him. He can get it around and get it in. We've seen Debo do it, your back nine bully. And it's really going to come down to, can those mids capture that magic? And we'll probably talk about that as we break down the matches.
It's for most THP events, like 9.3 would probably come in as an average, to be honest with you. I mean, sometimes you see I've seen other teams that come in, like 10-5, 10-3, something like that. But usually it's somewhere between 9 and 11. Okay, that's usually your sort of variance. So it's right where we normally see teams come in at. I mean, this is a smaller field event. I'm sure if it was like a fuller, like if there was 8 people on each team, we would probably have seen somewhere around 10-3, 10-5. That's usually the THP average. Mike, I mean illiterate, sorry. Form names, pal. Um, what did you think when you took a look at Team Vosh here?
Well, Team Vosh, I mean, obviously you got the man, the myth, the legend, Vosh himself. As you mentioned, the golden ticket, casher, that post. And then we've got, AuzzieMatt and Debo. And like I said, the only person I've seen play out of this group is Debo. And I know he took down my man Parrott during the rivalry earlier this year. So
Yeah,
he's got some THP team experience. And I mean, this team's dangerous. Like, so you just never know. I mean, as you saw last week, at the THP Championship, you just never know what you're going to get with like a 13 or 14 handicap, especially in the Shamble. So that day 2 could really come into play.
They gotta get to the Shamble. Okay, so that's I mean, again, we talked about the format. It made them very hard to handicap for me because you have Vosh, who I know, okay, he's gonna go in and anchor down, okay, and then you have 3 mids. Okay, remember last week I told you how I define the mids. It's 8 to 15. Those are mids. This is what this team has, and they're very hard to predict from event to event. But I mean, I know Debo, I know Vosh, the other 2 guys. I think that they're going to be up for the challenge, and it's going to be a live situation. Let's talk about this team, Team Slaton. Combined handicap 4.7.
Is that a THP record?
No. 2019 had I don't want to mention who the sponsor was. It's another OEM, but in 2019 there was an event in Vegas where I think they came in at 4.2. There was one team that came in at 4.2. Okay. Now that team went on. Not only did they all ghost the forum, but they also went on to win that event in emphatic fashion. Okay, so I was there. I was the on-course reporter for that event. I was there. I watched this go down. There's a lot to like here. Obviously, with the lower combined handicap, they get Walker at a 4.8. They get a battle-tested Lines at a 4. They get J Mix at a 4. They get Captain. Well, not Captain McLovin. Sorry. Every time my bad. Every time I see McLovin's name, I want to put Captain in front of it. They get McLovin. McLovin is their highest cap. No, but not only McLovin is their highest cap. There's a reason that I made them the favorite. But we're going to get into, there is a totally path here where Team Vosh pulls the upset. And we're going to talk about how what could occur there. But when you saw Team Slaton, we'll start with Scooby. What were your thoughts here? Besides, is this a THP record, which I told you it wasn't.
Yeah, that was thought 1, and 2 is, I mean, they got some players at those caps up and down the line. And that was the first thought was this could be a boat race on the initial go. And I think, like you said, there's a path, but that was my first thought seeing those caps.
Well, here's the thing: 3.5. What is there? 6 total points available, so 3.5 wins, right? They do have. I mean, yeah, this team is stacked. But if you let's go back to Team Vosh, and I'll put them back up. If you go back to Team Vosh, they need 3.5, right? And if you think Vosh is good too, Well, I mean,
Ball game on. Game on.
now we need a point and a half from somewhere else. I think that we talked a lot about, hey, is this a record or is this the greatest team since the '85 Bears that have ever shown? No, I mean, I think that this is yeah, they have a bunch of players and a bunch of them are battle tested, but I don't think that they're unbeatable. Illiterate, what were your thoughts?
I mean, you look at this team's handicap and you see, there's a lot of good players here. I mean, every one of them is what I would consider a very low to mid, single digit. And that's usually a good thing, especially I really like that for Shamble. And for the singles, I mean, I think it's going to depend on matchups, which I know we'll talk about, but the matchups are going to be big, but I can see why you put these guys as a minus 250 favorite with that handicap.
Yeah, hard not to make them the favorite, but dogs win all the time. Ask Appalachia State this weekend. Although I don't think that it would be as shocking if Team Vosh won it as it was the Mountaineers going to Kyle Field and putting it on them. I can't stand A&M. All right, so let's talk about singles. Here's match one right out of the gate. We get Vosh 1.3 against McLovin. So the team Vosh's low goes out against the highest handicap of Team Slaton. I made Vosh a 2-1 favorite, minus 200. The comeback on McLovin, plus 165. Illiterate, we'll go to you first for your thoughts on this one.
I mean, this is actually a good barking dog pick here. McLovin's got some THP singles experience and event experience, and that 5.8 handicap is probably going to get about 9 strokes or so, and so he may actually be getting about 7 strokes tomorrow once you factor in the slope rating and par. But if he can keep the ball in play and make some net birdies, I mean, he could pull the upset. I mean, I'm going to go with Chris Voshall here, but it wouldn't surprise me if McLovin pulls the upset here.
Scoop, what do you think about this match?
So I was talking a little bit to Mike G, who got to play with Vosh at a THP event earlier, and the notes he gave me was that Vosh is both sneaky long and an exceptional iron player, and to me that plays really well on the stadium course. So I think it's going to be a tough act for McLovin. At the same time, McLovin, he's going to have a fly high in the bag, some 225s, and then some raw T22 wedges. And I don't know about your all's thoughts, but if a guy picks raw wedges, that means he's got a short game. If he can get up and down.
Okay, I like that. I once carried a set of my short game's trash, and I once carried a set of raw Clevelands. Remember that? But here's what I'll say about this. McLovin is battle tested. McLovin is not going to shy away from the challenge. This is not the first marquee matchup that McLovin has found himself in. Now, regardless of whether or not he did well in the last time that he had to stare down a big time challenge like this, he still has the experience. He's not going to back down. He's not going to go away. I think that this thing could go deep to Illiterate's point. Although, I mean, look, if McLovin pulls it upside here in match one, it's going to get late early. Like, that's all I'm going to say. So I think that I still would bet the chalk with Vosh here.
Yeah.
In match two, we get that post 8.5 against J-Mix 18. The numbers again. Come on, let's just do J-Mix. Why not? Like, there's another J-Mix out there. J-Mix is minus 190. The comeback on that post is a juicy 155. Illiterate, what are your thoughts on this one?
So I follow J-Mix on the Grint, and I know he's been putting up some solid numbers. And I'm going to take the chalk here. I'm going J-Mix, probably like 6 and 5 here.
Okay, Scoob. I mean, we usually don't pound the people into the ground illiterate. Like, yeah, he's gonna.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that post, but he's gonna get boat raced. Is basically what illiterate just said. Scoob.
See, I'm gonna take the other side of the
What do you
coin
think?
here. The
Okay.
coin here, and give me that juicy line at plus 155. That post has played, I think, last count north of 90 rounds.
Yeah, he
He's
did say that.
he is ready to go. We had I had the privilege of playing with him earlier this spring and said, hey, have you played any match play yet? Knowing that this event was coming up. I think we had 5 holes left in our match. And at one point, I had him dormy too. And then like a flip switch. And he boat raced me on the last 2 holes to get that draw. And so I think he's going to be ready for match play. And at that line, give me the dog.
Yeah, I think that post is a live dog here, and I think that brings up a very interesting comment. Like, this is match play, okay? You're never really out of it. Like, as long as you can try to keep your ball in front of you, it's going to be 5, maybe course adjusted more. Literally, do you think this course adjusts to more than 5, or do you think that this is going to be about right?
I mean, these guys will adjust to about 3 or so. I mean, so we're looking at, I'd say that post is probably going to get about 6, would be my guess.
You think he gets 6 here? 5 or 6, right? I
Yeah,
think that
5 or 6 for sure.
What it's going to be important for that post is like to make those 6 holes count. All right. Now, what we said, but like we said earlier, the first 3 holes are going to be man to man. J Mix 18. You know what? You're just going to be J Mix. I'm not doing numbers. I don't even recognize Scoob's 45. Okay. I think that it's going to be very important if you're on the J Mix side of this equation that he gets out to a good start and he's up in this match before they get to hole 4, because hole 4 is like ridiculously hard even on the PlayStation. All right.
Club side of that one, real quick, JDax. We
Okay,
got
sorry.
with the 225s for the pitching wedge, and that post is going to be pulling out the 923s tomorrow with some wedges that hopefully can get posted from what I hear.
God, that sounds
yeah,
so
I'll
good.
tell you how many he's going to get. Give me just 1 second. And let's see here.
Live math coming to you hot.
Yeah, I mean, I hate silence. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the key here. Like, I think that when I was making the number, this was the one that felt.
Yeah, he's going to get 6.
Okay, 6. Okay, so it's 1 more. Course adjusted, it's 1 more. I don't know if that would have changed the line any. I think J Mix is a favorite. He's, based on his post history and what he's been scoring. Although, like, that post is grinded, to where, steel sharpens steel. Like, I feel like this could be one of those matches. We want to see matches get to that finishing stretch, right? Mm-hmm. We want to see a match with it on the line as they walk up to the iconic 17th hole, and maybe you have a match that's all square, or someone's dormy and has to stick it close to extend the match and try to grind out a half. We want to see those things tomorrow, so I think this one is the one I'm rooting for that goes deep. And I think I even put that in the lineup that I thought that this match would go.
And I'd love to see on 18, that post should be getting a pop. Does J-Mix go driver? Does he pull and try and do like a little fly high 2-iron stinger to be safe, but he's fading a pop?
Well, I mean, look, that tee shot
depends
on 18.
On who tees first.
Right, that tee shot on 18, I think you bring both clubs with you. Like, it depends, like, especially if someone's the chaser won 17 and they have to tee off first or what. Like, it depends. That tee shot on 18 is going to be huge for these guys. So let's talk about the singles match 3. AuzzieMatt, and I listed Team Vosh as, like, some people may be getting confused, like, why isn't the favorite listed first? I listed Team Vosh first because I talked about them first, and then, I was just going to tell you what the line is. So AuzzieMatt 13.2 goes out against Lions 81 4. They're gonna lay. Lions is gonna lay 9. Lions favored here minus 175. The comeback on AuzzieMatt is 140. Who did I start with? Scoob. Talk to me. Give me the irons too while you're at it.
All right. So this one we got AuzzieMatt playing a 3 and 4 fly high, and then going to the 223s before those beautiful copper T22 wedges. is what's going to be in AuzzieMatt's bag. And then Lions on the other side, fly high 4-iron, the 223, the Elite Players Cavity, is in his bag with some satin wedges.
Juicy. Hold on. Let me take a break. By the way, J-Mix says he's pulling the stick. He's calling a shot right now. He's pulling the biscuit. I love everything about that. Literally, what do you think? What are your thoughts on the match? You gave me the clubs, okay? And you seemed pretty excited about that club selection.
I mean, it's a blue box. It gets me excited. But in terms of this match, where my thoughts were with AuzzieMatt, right? We got that mid handicap. Yeah. What kind of round is AuzzieMatt going to have? Because I think, J-Dax, you're right in there as well from a mid handicap. You can have those rounds where you play 10, 11, 12 holes at maybe 2 over par. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of the round's complete trash and you shoot a 90. Or you could have that ham and egg round where, it's 16 bogeys and 2 pars and 2 doubles, and that's not going to get it done. So which side of a round is we going to have? I was leaning AuzzieMatt, but then little tidbit I heard is that Lions 81 was gaming the 225s this summer and switching to the 223s. So that familiarity could help.
Yeah. Look, I mean, for someone that used to be a homer of a different OEM, that transition between different, even though they're different irons, if they were in the same family, if that makes any sense to you, I'll give you the example. Transitioning from like an Apex CF16 to the Apex 18s, no problem, right? Or the Apex 18s to the 21s, no problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I misspit youth as a Callaway homer. My bad. Illiterate.
I mean, this is an interesting one. AuzzieMatt is going to get 12 pops here, and so can Lions fade 12 pops? That's a lot of pops to fade, but there's a lot of carnage out there that can happen on this course too. So. It's going to be interesting to see who can navigate their way around here. I mean, I'm going to take Lions here, and I think it's probably like about a 4-3, 3-2 finish here.
So here's what I'll say about this. I love that you're giving numbers. I don't do that.
I'm not that bold.
It's very hard. I'll look at the rivalry. My partner on singles day was Marmill. He was having to try to fade 9 or 10. Okay. He got it done. Okay. But he didn't get it done. He won that match 1 up on 18, and it was a mental struggle for him to just keep grinding and having to fade these pops or to get a 2-up lead, and then all of a sudden bogey net par when he has a bad hole takes a hole away from him, or 4 net 3, and all of a sudden the match is back to even. It went back and forth. Mike, you were there, right?
Yeah,
it is a very hard thing to do, even when you are the lower handicap golfer, because to Scooby's point, and I also made it on the forum, the mid handicap here, like the 13, is extremely dangerous. They're dangerous because they're getting strokes, but they can put together stretches of holes where they're better than a 13. Right. Yeah. And then there's some stretches of holes. Well, they may play a little bit worse. And not all 13s are created equal, because you don't know why they're a 13. Maybe their short game's trash. Maybe they can't putt worth a heck or whatever. Maybe they can't get off the tee. Those are different ways to arrive at a 13. So they become very hard to handicap. I like Lions here. He's battle tested. He's going to come to play, and he very rarely loses when he plays. So I like him here. I would feel good going to the window and taking Lions here, but understand that it's an awful lot to try to fade for him in that match. Match 4 on singles day. Team Vosh goes out. The back 9 bully Debo, 14-1. Goes against Walker, a 4.8. I don't know what the course adjusted. It's going to be somewhere around 9, 10 something, right? 11 maybe at a course adjusted.
I think it's going to be 11 or 12 here too.
Looks like 12 from the chat right now.
Okay, so
Find out their numbers.
he's gonna get 12. Whew. I opened Walker up as minus 180. The comeback on Debo is a very, very juicy 140 plus 145. Illiterate. We can finally see you. You're not in witness protection anymore. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, me being in witness protection is about the same as Magic Spell doing an actual magic trick. So I don't think I didn't see that. But speaking of the match here, I mean, look, you're playing Walker, and you know that I think that could add a little extra pressure there, and it's hard not to like Walker here in this situation. But like I said, I know Debo got his first taste of some THP experience earlier this year, and he took down a legend in Parrot, and so I mean anything can happen. I mean 12 pops is tough to fade, like we just talked about in this last match. I mean you've got you could make par and lose a hole, when they make par, or you're having holes when you're making pars, and you're like, damn, I'm playing well and I'm just having holes and I'm losing holes. I can't get one up here. It's tough. You gotta stay strong and just stick with it. And I think Walker's got the game to do that. So give me Walker 4-3 here.
4-3.
4-3.
Whew. Scoob.
I mean, my thoughts on this one initially went to what is THP's record in singles against OEMs and OEM reps? It's probably not stellar. Just that extra little pressure that Illiterate talked about. I know we say Debo is battle tested from a rivalry, so hopefully that'll knock off some of this rush. I think getting out to that early start is going to be key. J-Dax, you mentioned that earlier with 12 strokes. Debo's getting one right off the first, and then he's getting another one on the fourth.
Yeah.
You can keep it close early. This one could be one to watch down the stretch. But I think ultimately, Walker's got too much for him in the end.
Okay, I think that Debo's live here. But
is this your barking dog pick?
I think actually that, yeah, I mean, he's a barking dog. Here's the thing about Debo. Debo, in his last singles appearance, started off, he was 3 down through 3. That can't happen tomorrow. You're not going to win holes. I know he's watching. That's why I'm giving a you're not winning holes like with doubles like you did against Parrot. Okay? So I hope that that he grinded. I hope that his game is in good shape. I think that he's a live dog because he's going to get. You're talking like, what is he getting? 12, and he gets 10 from 5 in. That's a ton, dude. That's a ton. Yeah. That is a ton. Keep the ball.
Roost, he's playing the JPX 923s tomorrow.
He's playing the
Metal Pros. He's got a 3 fly high on top.
I like the Hot Metal Pros. I haven't hit the Hot Metal Pros, but I love the previous iteration so much. I'm pretty sure that these are going to be great. Look, he's going to have to play better than he did at the rivalry. But I think that he can. He won his match.
Can he play better than Josh's haircut? That's what I want to
know. I heard about that on The Worst. And if y'all haven't watched The Worst, either on the THP YouTube channel or, it's on iTunes. And apparently Josh has a big problem with Android users. So I don't even know if it's on the Google Play platform. Go listen to that. Josh's haircut story. Yeah, Debo's live here. He's going to have to play a little bit better. It would be this is probably not one that Team Vosh is counting, right? But I think this is one, it could be big, especially if they don't get like a half out of matches 2 or 3. And then, you really need to get the pops working against Walker here, right? Yeah, I love you, Debo. Look, let me go. Look, I just hot tagged myself. I don't win the rivalry without Debo turning that match around against Parrott. He started making a charge and he was 3 down through 3. So like if you're watching it and you're like in a match earlier, you're not really counting that point. Like you've already conceded it in your head. And then at the same time, Maynard, who was also up 3 in his match, proceeds to he starts like gagging his match against TTU cliffhanger away. And then so now I'm like about to write off 2 points in my head, and then here comes Debo. Like out of nowhere. It's by the time he gets to 12, that match is even, and then he ends up winning 3-2. He started off 3 down through 3 and won the match 3-2. Do not count this man out. Barking dog. I'm picking Debo. Okay. All right, let's go to Shamble. I went nuts. My bad. I'm so sorry. Shamble match 1. Now, I hope that we get a split. Like, if you're Team Vosh, you need a split here. You need at least a split out of day 1, because I do think that the Shamble format actually favors them. Okay, I don't think the singles format does, but I do think that they're favored in the Shamble format. Vosh and Debo, who apparently I've got a love fest for, so it's a low mid. They go out against J Mix and Lines in a low, and I have this match dead even minus. You're only going to pay the juice for either side minus 110 apiece. Illiterate, we'll go to you first.
I love the pairing that Vosh has here with him and Debo. He's going to be able to, like we said earlier, he's sneaky long. He's, solid iron player. He's not ever going to be out of a hole. And, depending on how the pops fall with Debo here, getting 70%, I mean, he's in great position off the tee. Maybe he's got a short iron in his hand or a wedge. That spells, to me, that spells not so great for J Mix and Lines. However, and I've seen J Mix put up some great numbers. I know Lines is battle tested. I see why you have this, basically a pick 'em here, essentially. But I'm going to take Vosh and Debo here 2-1.
Like it. Scoob?
So on this one, I'm surprised you had this one at the pick 'em, honestly, with how Vosh is steady. I don't think J-Mix and Lines are going to be starstruck. But I think Vosh and Debo are going to have a little bit too much game for him in the end, with Vosh keeping the anchor down and keeping it steady. The part of me is I've seen Lines play twice now, 2 summers. First summer, tight. Earlier this spring, it was a little loose. Now I know he's been working hard, but give me Vosh and Debo at this line.
I don't think that
Scoop going shade at Lines.
No, look, I don't think that.
Let's see it. Prove me wrong, baby.
I don't think that Vosh is. Look, this Vosh is way bigger in Europe than he is here. Okay, let's just be honest about it. So I don't think anybody's gonna be starstruck about Vosh.
TP World Tour big.
No, live tour big. Live, laugh, love. Look, I think that here's why I love low mids in this type of format, and that's what I get with Vosh and Debo, is that you let the low do the work off the tee, and then the mid comes in and uses their pop to steal the hole.
Yep.
Right? Like, and so that's why I love, even though it's 70%, Debo's still going to get to play at a 7, and that could be enough against a situation where you've got 2 basically threes playing with each other. It's going to be those holes where Debo pops and no one else does that would probably decide this. I like Vosh and Debo in this match, and that is why.
Yeah, I mean, he's still going to end up probably getting 8, 9, 10 pops. I mean, so and he's using Vosh's T-ball. I mean, it's a good recipe for success, in my opinion.
Let's go to the match that could decide this whole thing, because this was the hardest one to sort of handicap, right? And if it is close, and I like Vosh and Debo, like say they get a split on day 1, and then that first match goes Team Vosh's way, this is the one that they would need to. I don't know what the tiebreaker is. Hopefully, maybe they could go back to the stadium course and like play 17 and 18 as the tiebreaker. Oh, that would be so awesome. Shamble match 2. So you get Walker and McLovin, another low. against that post and AuzzieMatt. So you get a mid versus a low. I made McLovin and Walker minus 180, the comeback with that post and AuzzieMatt plus 145. I went to a little first. I'll go Scooby. What you got, buddy?
I think this one's going to be a little tough for Team Vosh with the low versus the mid.
Mm-hmm.
I know AuzzieMatt and that post, they played a warm-up round, I think, this past weekend. So they might be able to get that Cartner vibe going. If they can play off each other, have that relationship, right? It's not that shake your hand at dinner, just met you. So if they can play off that relationship, I think they can hang around and maybe make it interesting. But that's a big hill to climb for two mids in this format.
What are your thoughts on this? I mean, low, mid. We usually we like mids when it's best ball, and because like maybe not Shamble, like we love mids and just straight best ball, because like if they put together different stretches of great golf, you could end up with a really good 9 or a really good 18 out of it, right? So you love the risk reward with a mid and straight up best ball. I don't know if I like them that much in Shamble. What are your thoughts on a mid?
I mean, this is an interesting pairing too. You got Slaton and McLovin, which are handicap. You look at that and you're like, hey, these guys are going to play pretty steady. But a lot of times when you look at this mid pairing, like if you could just get the T-ball in play and then play out from there, I mean, it could definitely play to their advantage. I mean, I can totally relate with a guy that's playing around in 8. And you and I have been there as guys playing as a 13. So I think really what it's going to end up being is, what these guys do around the greens in the short game. From what I understand, the course they're going to play here is a lot more playable than stadium course. So, I like, Slaton and McLovin here, and I'm gonna go 5 and 4 is my prediction on this.
Yeah, no offense to that person, Aussie. I think that the reason that they're the underdog here, and B, I kind of like Slaton and McLovin in this match is that, they're gonna have, you have to be able to hold it together off the tee and put yourself in a position in a low against two lows, or if you had a low mid, well then the pressure goes on the low to put the team in position off the tee, and then like sort of ham and egg from there. At this point, someone's going to have to get hot with the driver. Someone's going to have to put you in position, and will that happen often enough where both of their tee balls are not in trouble? Because if that happens, they just sort of given away the hole potentially.
Yep.
Or if that happens on a hole where they're popping, their pop is gone. It evaporates on the tee box. It's too much. It's too much of a risk reward pick. I'm gonna go with Team Slaton here too. No offense if they're watching.
Closest to the pin contest on 17.
So let's go around the horn and just give we're coming up on the hour. We like to keep these, around the 60-minute mark. Scooby, what's your pick?
Pick at the end of the day, I think Slaton's got enough. You look through the matches, I know I said I like Vosh and I like that post, but I think those are close. Then you start looking, Lyons and Walker, I think are going to end up carrying the day on the singles. That'll take us to Shamble. And at the end of the day, there's just, I think, too much firepower on Slaton. That'd be my pick.
Illiterate.
Yeah, I mean, when I went through the predictions, like I said, I think, we all picked Vosh to win his 2 matches that he's got, and that's 2 points. And unfortunately, that's not enough to get it done. 3.5 wins this. So I think Team Slaton is going to take this. But I wouldn't be surprised to see an upset or this thing come down to 3-3 somehow too. But yeah, give me Team Slaton.
I don't think this is going to be a coronation. Okay. I do see a path where Team Vosh wins this. I think that the path is narrow. It's narrower than probably, I think they have to have things go their way and have the exact right breaks. And since If you look at the laws of just, you know, general variance and those things are going to even out, then I think my pick on the forum was Team Slaton. I'm not going to change it here, but I'm not like having a funeral for Team Vosh. I think there's a path for them to win. I would be very excited if that path started, because that means that second day of the experience it's going to matter, right? There is a little concern, like, can they get it to day two? I think they do get it to day two, and then take care of business from there. Because I think that Vosh at least wins his match on day one, and then that means that you do absolutely go from there. Any final thoughts?
I think I agree with you there. Day two is going to matter. I don't think tomorrow night Team Slaton's going to be shopping over what Mizuno putter that they want to pick out as their prize here.
Yeah, I think day two matters here totally, and you know, I for one, I'm really excited for these guys to get to play the stadium course. It's going to be a ton of fun, and I think on the show earlier that JB did, I think he said, you know, the odds are like 3 out of 8 maybe hit the green. I'm gonna say 4 out of 8 is my prediction on 17. You're going 6. I mean, we got some pretty good golfers, but you know, I'll take 4. And Scoob said he's going over. But it's going to be a great weekend, or a great week of golf these next 2 days, and I'm excited to see how this thing plays out. I'm not going to be surprised either way, but good luck. I hope everybody plays well and has a great time.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be super fun. I think that the THP universe is in for a good ride. I think that we're gonna have some excitement either way. So for Scooby 45, although I'm fading the number, and illiterate, this is Jade Axe, and we are out. Thanks.